Well, good afternoon. This December the 2nd, 2025. So glad that you could join me with PJ's podcast with Pastor Joel Rice. Um, I, I really want to start with doing something a little different by reading out of the book of Revelation. Um, I was reading this earlier, but as a pastor, I work with a lot of people and the things that I'm going through myself. And as I've been thinking about this, I recognize some of our habits. So let me read this out of Revelation chapter 2, 8 through 11, and then we'll get into what I'm actually going to be talking about today. To the angel of the church of Smyrna, write the words of the first and the last who died and came to life. I know your tribulation and your poverty, but you are rich, and the slander of those who say that they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Do not fear what you're about to suffer. Behold, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison, that you may be tested, and for 10 days you will have tribulation. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit has to say to the churches. The one who conquers will not be hurt by the second death. Now, the point with me starting with this is Jesus is writing to this church, and they've actually done specifically nothing that he's condemning. He's just actually just warning them of the problem to come. And he doesn't say anything about fixing their situation, does he? Have you ever stopped and thought about that? Here he is telling them that there's going to be people arrested, that there's going to be a testing, the problem is coming, and with all love, deal with it, right? And in our world of quick fixes and depression medications and pain medications and this and that's and the others, and wanting everything to be fixed, how do I know? Is because in myself I have this struggle. I have this desire to still live out the American dream and to have things my way, and the list goes on. And as I hear people dealing with difficult situations, difficult jobs, difficult marriage, difficult kids, difficult this, difficult that, or maybe things have actually changed for the better in a sense, but it's not exactly what they want, and they're not a super dangerous or horrible situation, but they want it changed anyway. They're going to make changes and they're going to seek to fix their situation, even though it's not detrimental or horrible, or I don't even know how to explain it. And yet Jesus is telling this church, hang on, resist to the point of death, right? Go through this situation and continue living for me, though you're probably going to die in prison, or some of you might be put to death in the arena, or I mean, seriously. Doesn't doesn't that seem a little different than the Christianity that we get taught today? Where we're told, oh, Jesus is going to come fix your situation and fix your bills and fix your life, and he's going to come in and change your depression and take away this and take away that. And he's just going to, where where's that in Scripture? I'm also reading Second Corinthians currently, and Paul's talking about his problems and as an apostle and being persecuted and threatened and starving and all these different things that he's gone through. And he's reading the Old Testament, quoting things like, they kill us all day long, Um, Jesus tells his apostles, his disciples at the time, that they're going to be put to death, and people are going to think they're doing God a favor. So the point of this podcast today is 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 more of a statement, not a question. It's a statement. Stop trying to fix your situation before you even start seeking Jesus to fix you. I mean, if you're obviously in a dangerous situation in a marriage or even at work or whatever, and you can leave, that's fine. Okay? I'm not trying to put you, but if it's just people who have been in a bad situation and yet it's gotten better, but it's not exactly what they were looking for, and yet they're not seeking God to fix their hearts and work with the situation and work with a person or people or a place or whatever it is to help them grow and mature, because in the trial, you're learning to grow and mature. I mean, it's not an easy thing. I've been in situations that are just difficult. I went through back in 2015, 16, and 17 some panic attacks that lasted a long time. They weren't just multiple attacks here and there and everywhere. It was one that lasted weeks. And somewhere in there, I had to make the decision: am I going to continue to follow the Lord and do His will no matter what I felt, even if I had to put up with this for 20, 30 years? Or was I going to just lie down and die? Because that's what I felt inside. And I'm not patting myself on the back, because it wasn't like, it was just my self-will or anything. This was me turning to God in complete desperation and saying, fine, I don't know how or what or when or whatever, but I need you to fix my heart about the situation, even if you're not going to fix the problem. I know it sounds weird, but as I've done more and more counseling as a pastor, as I've dealt with my own issues and thoughts, I realize I have to come back to the simple fact that, God, I need you to change me, because this world isn't getting any better until you return. And then it's going to be destroyed. It's not going to get any better until you return. And while I'm still breathing, I'm going to face problems and situations and growing older and mental issues and physical issues and other people's issues. And okay, fix me. Fix the way I look at the situation. Help me to get my eyes set on what your plan is rather than what I want in my current state. I know you have something better. We know He has something better. We know we have a future. We know we're going someplace. So if God's already got a plan to fix everything, why not start living like we're heading that direction? Through the mess, through the situation, loving those who right at the moment I just don't feel like loving. I'm going to choose to love them anyway. I need you to choose to love me anyway. I might be saying things right now or in the last podcast or in my sermon or years back that you just didn't like. You didn't like what I said. You didn't like what you heard. Maybe I kind of shoved the scriptures in your face or whatever. But will you choose to love me anyway? Will you seek Him and let Him change your heart and your mind and your actions? I realize that in me, I have that same issue. I've got to come to this place where, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to deal with, pick one, I mean, a situation, but I know that I can't allow myself to go down the swirly of this life in misery and despair because I didn't get my way. Or so-and-so didn't make me happy. Or, they're not hurting me necessarily. And And a lot of times when we start stepping back and we start praying about it and we start looking at the situation, we'll realize that even if it's not exactly what we want, getting through this life will be easier with that person than without them. We always like to play and pretend that it would be better without them, but the reality is it doesn't fix our heart. It doesn't fix our mind. It doesn't fix the way we see the world. And other things that will annoy us and break us and a whole bunch of other things will fill that person's void in a negative way. So today I'm asking you, will you seek Jesus in your situation to fix you? To fix you in your perspective, to fix you in your heart, to fix you and all the, I don't know even how to explain all of the details of the things that are going on in my brain right now. But I know that I can find peace. I can find peace even in the storm. Because I've got my eyes set on the goal. And Jesus is going to get me through this. And he can get you through this. And you may, and I hate to say the truth, but I'm going to, you may never exactly have the life that you think you should have here. But I'm telling you, what he's going to fix and give you in peace and heart and hope and faith will get you through to a place that goes on forever. And you just may take some other people with you into that eternity to have that same hope and to hang on to Jesus. But man, if we live defeated, who wants that, right? Our situations may never change. But the way we perceive them and follow Jesus can change everything in how we think, how we feel, and even who we are. I want to reflect the image of Jesus, who willfully suffered in my place, and I am going to be a person who willfully suffers for somebody else for the name of Christ. Not because it makes me feel better, because Jesus was pretty sad about the situation, but in the end, it may just bring somebody else to know his love and hope. May you seek the Lord over your own situation. May he guide you and carry you even to the point of death. Blessings be upon you. Thanks for joining PJ's podcast.